All right, let's go.
What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here, and today we're talking about the next big PS5 exclusive, which is called Concord, because it is coming out
Next big exclusive? Big? Okay.
relatively soon, and it sounds like it might be a broken mess with bad class balancing, unfun gameplay, extremely slow combat. Just in general, I think this is about to be a very expensive Sony L. And I want to talk about it because I must admit, I am fascinated by the fact that PlayStation is putting so many millions of dollars into this. But let's talk about it.
Keep in mind, they cancelled Factions and they cancelled Spider Man Online for this. They don't have Factions 2 or Spider Man Online for this.
Hi, hope you're having a great day. If you could, please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Now, let me start off by explaining what Concord is. So, this is a game that's made by a studio called Firewalk. Now, the rumor is that apparently they've been working on this for years and years and years, and somehow Sony saw this while it was in development and said it was so incredible they bought the entire studio. They actually purchased Firewalk to keep this as a PlayStation exclusive. Now, Sony has said they're really wanting to make more live service projects, stuff that isn't just one upfront cost. Because, as much as I'm completely obsessed with stuff like Spider-Man or freaking Uncharted or, all sorts of stuff that Sony has been doing and doing very well, I mean, I think we can all admit that when it comes to PlayStation stuff, a lot of times because they are single player experiences that are very narrative focused, you beat it, you love it, you finish it, you platinum it, and then you put it down.
I mean, I'm not sure about the platinum bit, but the rest's fine.
Sony wants to have more stuff where they can have seasons and battle passes and microtransactions, long term money printers, and that's clearly what Concord is supposed to be. So, here coming up in 2 weeks, we're about to get a closed beta where you can actually try it. And I am going to be playing it and doing a video myself, but I was also curious because today the first previews have begun to come out. A lot of major websites across the world were allowed to sit down and play a couple hours of the game itself, and they said that it's actually shockingly unbalanced, which I must admit is the weirdest part. This is a hero shooter. It's a game that
Oh, wow. A shockingly unbalanced hero shooter. Who would have thought that a hero shooter is going to be unbalanced?
actually has specific classes that have particular abilities that let you have extra defense or offense or movement or support. So the full game is going to have.
I don't think he's played a hero shooter before. There's always, in hero shooters, there's always a character that everyone wants. I mean, Overwatch has Mercy. If you have a team without Mercy, it's pretty much no team at all.
16 heroes, 12 maps, and 6 modes.
No one knows,
it's going to have
Julia.
a bunch of different seasons of content, and it sounds like the seasons will be free just by buying the game. The game costs $40. You can play it forever. It has a lot of different modes that are both single life and respawn. They did say that some of the stuff is like capture the flag style stuff or hold the point, sort of King of the Hill. They did say that one of the modes that people were saying is the most fun is like what is that? In Call of Duty, kill confirmed, where you kill somebody and they drop like a little, dog tag and you pick it up for a point. Apparently, they have a mode like that, which is pretty decent. But the biggest problem is the fact that the lack of actual tuning. So apparently, the movement itself feels very floaty, says something like Destiny or Halo. And
I mean, the developers for this game came from Bungie. They made Destiny and Halo. They're a one-trick pony. What do you expect? Pun intended, totally. But they are a one-trick pony, and that is literally all they know. So, what were people expecting when it came to the gameplay? Were they expecting something different coming from a studio that is primarily made of Bungie ex-employees? I don't get it. You literally get what you pay for.
We're going to take a look at some gameplay here in a minute. Most of the characters have a double jump, some characters have a triple
Anime, you're
jump
back.
or a dodge. Heroes have
something
two
for you.
abilities and a passive skill, but no ultimates. Okay, I actually kind of like that. I think it's cooler when
No, ultimates seem weird. It's a hero shooter. That's the whole, that's your oh shit button. How can you have a hero shooter without an ultimate?
a lot of times when your character feels very built to kill, very built and ready to go, and you're not waiting for like a particular power up. Each free gunner has a unique weapon and a health pool. Before a match, you have to select from a small crew of heroes to choose from, and you can only swap to those during the game. Oh, interesting. So instead of just making it so you start with like one particular person, you can swap to anybody, you make a couple different selections at once. Each hero can be selected once per team, but there's no role limit. Yeah, so this is one of the complaints I've heard, which is that, in something like Overwatch or something like that, there is a balancing to it automatically where you can't just have all healers, you can't just have all tanks, you can't just have a bunch of people that are going to block and make it not very fun. This doesn't have that. You can be any balancing of killers and healers and whatever, and I've heard that actually very much breaks it.
That's crazy. That's actually really big, right? Because if you have no role limit, there is no way you can balance this. Like if you go into Destiny 2 PvP as 5 titans and a hunter, and you put your ward of dawn down, and you've got enough of them down, within each other, and you can just run around. The hunter run around inside, pops their golden gun, shoots everyone, gets 3 kills, and then picks up all the orb powers to get their super back up again real fast. There's nothing you can do to counter that. Like nothing at all. There is literally nothing you can do. And if you're going down that route by having no role limits whatsoever, especially in a hero shooter, where you can go full tanks, and if they can actually do good damage as well, yeah, that's yikes, man. That is yikes. That is really yikes. I know it does, Taz, because at the moment you can't actually defend against it. If you go in somewhere and you see that, it's GG. The game is done. You're not going to win. It's 100%. There's no way to balance that, and it's the same way as this. Like this is a recipe for disaster. Like why would anyone do this? Like anyone? I mean, to be fair, it's Destiny and Halo creators. They worked a number of years on Halo and then spent the rest of their lives working on Destiny, completely and utterly unbalancing that game to no end. So I can't say I'm surprised.
Since some of this balancing is so bad, apparently you can just all play the most busted, overpowered characters and break it. Or sometimes if you get stuck as a weaker character, you're just not going to have fun. Like, sorry, man, everybody picked all the good characters. You got to be the crappy, weak character with no health and no aiming abilities. It has Destiny shooting with slightly slower movement and around double the time to kill of Call of Duty. Ugh. Weekly story vignettes.
So to make matters worse, I get, by Call of Duty, I assume they're talking about normal mode, not hardcore, which is like one tap. But if it's double the time to kill of Call of Duty, not only have they made the movement slower, but they've made the time to kill even slower. These are red flags, man. And weekly story, yeah.
So, this is one of the ones that actually shocked me the most. This was actually the main inspiration. So this is Stella. She works at IGN, and she does a lot of FPS coverage. She does all sorts of stuff where she has competed and played and stuff and done spectating and done... She's the kind of person that doesn't just play a lot of esports, but she covers it with a very critical eye. So, even if you disagree with her opinion, I think she comes up with a lot of very good, very detailed points about how stuff is actually working.
Let's just go back a thing. My hands-on preview for Concord is live. I'm critical of FPS games because I want to see them succeed, but often see balancing issues that make or break them. With previews, my goal is to provide constructive feedback and evidence with what works doesn't. I got to play Concord early, and I've been working on a really in-depth preview for us, and this is the longest preview video I've made. Okay, so basically nothing.
And one of the things she brings up in her IGN video here, you can see the entire comment section is like, bro, this game is going to bomb. This game has no freaking way. It's going to have no longevity. It's not going to have any actual legs to it. But here's the part I thought was the most interesting is she talked about the fact that because the character balancing is so terrible, certain people are way better at just general action. If you don't get particular characters, you can't play. She said this character here has a homing rocket launcher that does 43 direct damage and splash damage to everybody around it, which means that in general, you could just wipe out entire chunks of team. She also made it a point to say that this game is so focused on kills, of team kills. Look at that, a double kill there. Because this game is so laser focused on team play and team kills, playing by yourself is pretty much impossible. So. You know when you're playing a game like Call of Duty or Valorant or something, and if you're good enough, you can wipe out the enemy team.
Really
at the very least, you can get 1 or 2 or 3 kills and you feel like a badass. Apparently in this, that's impossible. It is built from the ground up for team play only. So if you actually try and just play good, that's not enough. It is a game where you have to move as a group, attack as a group, use special abilities as a group, or it's downright unplayable. Look how slow that...
Man, that aiming was bad. Not as bad. I mean, obviously I'm not that bad. But it just feels slow, sluggish, and this doesn't look fun at all. But the worst part of this is that I'm not seeing a difference between the PvP in this and Destiny 2. You can clearly see that they took the bones of Destiny 2's PvP and just reskinned it into a 5v5 instead of a 6 versus 6. That's crazy.
That time to kill is.
Marvel
my God, that looks so bad. That guy walked away while getting shot by 2 players. Oh yeah, look at this dodge. Every time you dodge, it goes to this third-person view, which Destiny does as well, but apparently there's this slight delay to it, so when you try and dodge, a lot of times it just straight up does not actually activate instantaneously. I must admit that I am now morbidly curious about this, because it's clear that this is the kind of stuff that PlayStation does want. They're going to keep making stuff like Spider-Man 3 and Wolverine and another Ratchet and Clank, and hopefully...
I mean, I've heard some really bad things about Wolverine as well, so God knows what's going on with that one. From the game being completely rebooted, people not being happy with what they've seen, the game being in a bad state, them considering actually redoing Wolverine again for the second time. I'm not hearing good things about Wolverine at all. But this doesn't give me any vibe that it is going to remotely be successful. And the gameplay that we saw from IGN just there, the short gameplay, it looks awful.
There's rumors of like a new Uncharted being made and stuff, but I do think that it's pretty clear that this is what PlayStation wants on the back burner. They want to have a way to keep having their fan base log in and play stuff and keep buying microtransactions. Now,
well, I mean, that's the key, right? If you've got a really healthy MAU, you want to monetize that MAU as soon as possible so you can try and, get as much money as you can. That's the whole purpose of having a really high MAU. That's it. Microtransactions, at least for now. Later on, it will probably be for cloud gaming, for people to be in your ecosystem, stuck in your ecosystem, and moving forward with that.
Now, they have released statements that apparently all the microtransactions, every character is unlocked, everything. Microtransactions are purely for cosmetic, but I'm at the point where that to me no longer feels like a W. Like, okay, I'm glad you're not scamming us as hard, but I don't know. This just seems like, honestly, this just seems terrible. And I'm so curious to play it for myself. Maybe it will win me over, but...
And I think this is the worst part, right? Sony, if you pre-order the game, doesn't offer refunds. They don't. Trust me, I've tried. And if you have managed, do let me know how you managed to do it, because I couldn't cancel pre-orders for games I played that were trash. But they are paywalling this. I know others do it as well, but for a game like this that's new, you want as many hands on this game as possible to give it a try. And even if 15-20% of them turn around and say, yeah, I like it, I'm going to get this day one, that's a win. But putting it behind a paywall, a game that's not really proven itself, you're asking for trouble. A lot of it. And that's going to impact numbers on day one.
But man, the more we see of it, the more it just seems like this is going to be such an expensive failure for PlayStation. And I think everybody knows that already. But what do you guys think about this? Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already. By the way, if you pre-order the beta, you actually get 5 beta codes. I'm probably going to pre-order it so I can.
Interesting. I guess that's how they're doing it. They're making all the content creators pre-order it so they can give away 4 of the codes to their community. That's the only way they're going to get people to try it out. My God, they're still trying to nickel and dime their community. That's bad, man. They're like, hey, you're a content creator? Yeah. Take this, sucker. My God.
I can do a video on the beta and review it and stuff like that. Maybe we'll try and get a team.
Hey, this one I actually do believe he'll actually be playing himself and doing the review of the beta, because, he's actually paying money for it. Unlike the other ones where I don't know where he's getting the footage from.
Like this video, maybe I'll...
That's it. I mean, Concord looks awful. It didn't look fun. It didn't look anything remote. And the fact that they are leaning into the Destiny PvP, which is really bad at the moment. I don't have high hopes for this. I don't. And based on the information that we saw, I think it was over here. This just, this third point here just is no. And this one over here, just absolutely not. This one over here, even worse. And this one, if you're wondering what this is, you probably get you'll go through a weekly set of challenges that you need to do. And then they'll give you 30 seconds of dialogue for the story and say, right, come back next week and do it all over again. Exactly the same thing. And you're golden. And I'm like, nah, that's what put me off Destiny. This game is going to flop. That's all I'm saying. But you know what? You let me know what you think in the comment section below, and we can have that discussion.